Khmil, and he is from Nurse Lab, and it will be about AI and digital tools for social initiatives. So here we are, and Volodymyr, did you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And here is everyone. You can say hello. Wait. Yeah.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Volodymyr.
I do accept. Trying to.
You are messy here.
This is in the way.
Yeah, like that.
Can you hear me well? Good.
Yes.
Great. So should I start?
Yes.
Okay, great. I will share my screen. Tell me when you see it.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
quite okay. Hello. Yeah, there is quite a hassle. But let's try. So let's meet together. My name is Volodymyr. I will do like this. I am lowering voice pretty low, so if anything, please scream because I'm receiving a huge echo. Good? Great. So my name is Volodymyr. I'm a CEO of a company called NerdSlab. We are a software development company based in Ukraine with over 8 years of experience in software development, as well as experience in AI. Right now we are over 80 employees, and today I'm going to talk about ways how to improve your usual routine using an AI and do it in a more enhanced way. So let's start. So do we really need it? In the current business, competition is actually pretty ruthless. It means that whenever your competitor is using some tools and you're not, you're losing this battle. By statistics, over 85% of the Fortune 500 companies already adopted UI and continue doing that in all their markets. And 80% of Mind working employees also using AI in their daily routine. By Mind workers, we mean someone that works with the texts, someone that performs usual office job, etc. We're not talking about the builders and so on. By another statistics, each $1 spent by a company invested into adapting their processes into AI-based and spending on AI tools has a $3.7 return of an investment. Therefore, it's a valuable investment that you can do right now and get your company on track. Another important part that you need to be care of is actually the time, is your resources. In reality, any manufacturer are using separate resource and selling it into the final product. In our case, we are selling the time. Time is the resource that we are evaluating, that we are using. Saving 20 to 25% for a manufacturer with their resources sounds something like insane numbers. The same is here. Saving your time with just a 20 to 25% would boost your margins, would boost your productivity, prices, and so on. And the last one is actually, I would highly doubt that we are experts in everything. There are such humans, probably less than 1%, but in reality, we are pretty narrow to some specific domain. Therefore, AI can help us cover these areas that we are struggling with, that we don't know anything or very little, as it's more generative than we are. And that's what we can also utilize in our daily life. Good. Hope I covered this one and we understand why it really matters. Going to next slide. So here you can see that I got a little bit bored with trying to find the image for the next slide. Therefore, I started utilizing an AI so you can see a clear comparison for generating images. So getting back to our topic, prompts. Let's start from a basic. Not digging into very technical terms, prompt is your instructions that you are giving to an AI. The quality of these instructions really matters. just because the better you do it, the better final result you can receive. Usually, I would suspect that many of us are using ChatGPT, and the instruction we are giving like this one makes this text sound polite, which is pretty high level. But in reality, it gives pretty bad results. Why? Because most models or most AIs that we're using, it's pretty generic or general, and as a result, it doesn't understand the context you're operating in. It doesn't understand your domain you're working. Are your company marketing-based, software development-based, or political, and so on. All of this really matters to get the final result. It's like you would expect that you're asking your colleague to perform it and to understand, but in reality, you're asking the person out of the office, grabbing someone from the street and asking to perform this task. Most probably, it would be very general or not something that you would expect. But this can be improved, and the quality of your prompts can be highly improved. This process names prompt engineering. Many big companies such as OpenAI or Google, they created already guides how to communicate with LLMs or AI to get a better result. And right now we will be going over a quick course of Google prompt engineering course, which actually takes 10 and 9 hours, but we will be doing it much faster. Good. So moving to the next slide. Softly create excellent inputs. So this is the rules that Google advises us to use to create a better prompts. Everything starts with a task. This is actually usual what we do all day. So I'm asking you to create a more polite version of this message. To enhance it better, we can add a persona. Persona can be you're a marketer, and you have to create a much polite version of this message. This already asks a decent content and gets a better result in the end. Also, you can ask to format into a specific way. Long text, short text, tables, paragraphs, etc. to get the better final result. After that, Google recommends us to add context. Where are you operating? What exactly is happening with you right now? So you need this message. So you are a marketer. You need to create a polite message. Your boss asked to create this message to send to the sales department. This is the context that gets additional value for AI, understanding what is the reasoning behind it, and as a result, gets a better final response. You can also adjust references. It's important because AI is very good in understanding patterns. It can grasp these references and get the value out of it, what exactly you want to achieve. So if you like how your boss communicates, or if you have the previous messages received from someone, you can adjust it as references as an example where you want to lead this AI, and it will enhance your final result. After that, Google recommends to evaluate, is this result good enough, bad enough, and of course, iterate. Iteration is a very important process of working with the prompts. It's very hard to get something done with a first stance and immediately receive a good result. That's why we'll constantly get into this iteration process. This thing, providing such a prompt with such references, context, and persona, would feed you up to 80% of a quality. It's always probably more than enough. But if you have more complex tasks, or you want to fit this 20% more and get it better, Google recommends a 4 iteration methods. So this is a 4 methods that helps you fix this iteration process, the last step of the previous approach, to do the next prompt better and better. So everything starts with revisiting the prompting framework. Have you added a context? Is this context enough, or can you do it better? Have you added references? Is it enough, or can you do it better? After that, you can separate prompts into shorter sentences. In general, it's like speaking with a human. Whenever you're giving your employee a very long one-sentence task with many parameters that it needs to understand, it's much harder compared to when you split this task into simple structured sentences. The same with an AI. If you split one big prompt into simple sentences, it can better understand what you're trying to achieve. So after that, you can try different phrasing or switching to analogous tasks. Fun fact, most of AI models works on patterns, what it means. So in reality, AI is not thinking what it needs to give you in a feedback. It just predicts what letter should be next after this one. So because it was structured on billions of texts in over the internet, it understands that after A letter in the previous example text should go B. It doesn't think why there needs to be B. It just puts it. It means that forming the same prompt, logical prompt, with the different words can give you a completely different results. For example, you can ask it to prepare you a marketing plan, but it can sound pretty boring. Or you can ask it to write a compelling story how our company are going to penetrate our demographic market with our customers. Most probably it will give more creative variant of the same task. And the last one is introducing a constraint. It's important to narrow the area that your model or your AI is working with. An example can be your HR manager, you're trying to create a playlist for a party, and it starts throwing different songs that you don't want. You can then structure that this should be a fun song, this should be a songs from Ukraine, no hip hop, and it will already narrow down a lot of songs that you would like it to receive. To memorize this concept, it recommends to use such a phrase, ramen says tragic idiots, like the first letters of each of these sentences. Just much easier to memorize. Good. So this is actually the way how to create a decent prompt for you to use to receive decent results and iterate over them. But except prompts, you have other things to choose with. It's models and tools. So in reality, there are many models in the current AI world, and it feels like everyone is trying to build their own model. Each model is different for different results. Some models are better for short text, some are better for a long text. I won't get into details of each of them because, again, in a month, everything can literally change and everything will be different. But I will name a few of them that's worth for you to know. So Google has Gemini model. Gemini is very good for working with a long context. What it means? If you want your book that you've written or your novella that you've written to be summarized, and you will try to put it in a ChatGPT, well, probably it will give you that, I'm sorry, this is too long. On another stance, Google can work with long materials. That's why you can work with a long text there, with a decent result. You can work with the videos or with images there, and it won't bring you any errors. You can do it there. Another example, of course, is the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is pretty decent for a short text. We all know that. We all probably use it. But if you don't want to use a paid version of ChatGPT, there is such a model named DeepSeek. This is a Chinese-based model, which makes it kind of tricky because it has concerns related to your data usage. Therefore, if you're working for a big corporate, I would not recommend going into this direction. But if it's for your self-usage, please feel free. It's a free one, analog of OpenAI, ChatGPT, and you can use it at any time. Good. Where we will dig into through the models, it's actually model types. There is such a thing, as reasoning models. As I mentioned before, models are working based on a patterns, meaning it just predicts what exactly should be your next letter. Zero thinking. It brings us to the point when it comes to solving some logical problem, it just guesses it. and this is bad. Not so far ago, OpenAI released its first reasoning model, and after that, many other providers released theirs. What is a reasoning model? A reasoning model, by a simple stance, is a model that can actually think and do a logical tasks. So whenever you would say Tommy is higher than Jessica and Jessica is higher than Mike, who is the highest of them? The standard model would just guess based on its training materials, while the reasoning model would actually try to understand the pattern, think, and tell you who is actually the highest of them. Where it brings us to? It brings us that whenever you have a task that is logical, that requires a thinking, like mathematical task, programming task, something more complicated than just rewrite your sentence to be more polite, it's worth using a reasoning model just because they will give you a better results. If you're a ChatGPT user, not so far ago you had such an option to select the models, but right now they are going into the direction that they are selecting model on your own. But other providers have still such an option. Therefore, if you're willing to use other providers like Google or Cloud, etc., you can select their models and prioritize usual model over the reasoning one. Good. So next we're moving to the web search. Another interesting thing about AI and models that they are taught up to the certain time, meaning that the model that was released at 2023 knows everything that happened before it, but nothing that happened after it. It doesn't have it material. And as a result, if I would ask it who is the president of the United States of America, most probably it wouldn't know, just because it were not trained on this material. But if your request requires model to operate with modern news, what's happened in existing world, you need to enable a web search option. This is an option in most models. In ChatGPT, you will find it in the bottom of your chat menu, and it simply performs like a Googling. In adjusting to materials that it has at the moment, it also adds material from the new articles that it can find via internet search. Therefore, if you're interested in political aspects that just happening, in economical aspects, it's for using web search. Deep research is actually an analog of a web search, but more utilized for doing researches, big, massive researches with a lot of data, with deep understanding of a domain. It can perform like from 3 minutes up to 15, 20 minutes time. So if you would like to ask who is the president of the United States, most probably you need to use a web search. If you would like to prepare a marketing plan based on the current political state of the United States of America, then you need to use a deep research. It would get more decent results. It would review much more materials, existing past materials, and get as a result a much better final report. And the last one is Google AI Studio. I won't go over it. I just want to show you one cool feature that can be pretty useful. This is a feature named Stream. What it does, you start streaming your screen, and AI understands what exactly is happening on your screen and can help you. For example, you are pretty new to Excel, but you need to prepare some report. You can stream your screen, you can start working in Excel file and ask what exactly you need to do here to group it, to sum it, to prepare some infographics and so on. And it will answer you in live mode. It's like having a friend who sits near you, your curator, that helps you in a live mode, seeing what you do on the screen exactly right now and helping you get it done, get the task done that you're just asking. So very useful tool to obtaining some new materials. Good. So this is done. Now you can see that my weekly quota on images ended. Therefore, I return back to my daily routine of trying to find some fun images. And we are moving to final advice. So the first part, human in the loop. You can never trust the model. It can hallucinate, it can give some wrong results, and as a result, you are always responsible for reviewing what it gives. You cannot simply copy and paste it. Be always cautious the result you're receiving. Point number 2, care about data you put in. Most probably, the data that you're putting in your ChatGPT will be used in future models training. As a result, if you're putting your sensitive data, your company's sensitive data, the data that's under NDA, it can be exposed. It might not be, but it can be, and you'll be responsible for that one. Therefore, be very careful what you're putting in. The advice number 3 is actually save your iterations. In my specific case, I'm doing the same action day a day, week a week, always, and each time I am iterating over and over to get a decent result. Instead of that, what we can do when we got a decent result, we can simply ask ChatGPT what would be the initial prompt to get this result from first glance. And it would give us actually the prompt that we should input right away, and it would give us the results that we have right now. We can save this prompt and use for our next activities to avoid these iterations over and over again. And it can save us a lot of time. The next one is ask what you don't know. So in reality, I would assume that a lot of us are using ChatGPT in a very straightforward manner, or any other model if you're using it, simply trying to modify text. But it has many more capabilities that we don't know. It can form you a document, it can form you Excels, it can form you PDFs, generate images, and so on. If you don't know that, but you want some tasks to be performed, you can simply ask this model what exactly it can do. Can it create you a document or not? And it will answer. So you don't need to Google it, you don't need to bear everything in mind. You can simply ask a model and it will give you a response of its capabilities. The next, we'll be talking about 3 techniques, which sounds pretty complex, but are really pretty easy. Prompt chaining. This is something that's always pretty hard for me to explain, but I will try my best. So imagine that you've written a novella and you want to create a marketing campaign for it with an AI. Instead of giving a whole text of a novella and asking to create a marketing campaign, what you can do, you can ask to summarize it in one A4 format. It will create you a short text of your novella. After that, you can ask it to create a compelling tagline based on a summary. That's an important part, based on not a novella, but based on a summary it created. And after that, you can ask it to combine summary and tagline to create a final marketing plan. So prompt chaining, it's like giving a prompt to an AI based on a previous response that AI given, because you're asking it to create a tagline based on not a whole novella, but rather its summarized element. You're receiving much decent result as you're providing much smaller amount of information into a system that it actually doesn't need such much. The next one is chain of thought prompting. So this one is also pretty simple. You're adding to your prompt a request for AI to explain each step that it does and clearly state why. As a result, as a response, you're not only getting the final response, but explanation from an AI why exactly you get this response. Understanding how AI thinks and why it gets you this specific answer give you a hint what exactly you need to edit to get a better answer. It can be utilized mostly in some complex ways, not editing polite message, but it's useful at a certain extent that you can't receive a good result and you're struggling. And the last one is pre-of-thought prompting. So think about it. When you don't know what you need to do or the task is pretty creative, why should you receive only one option from an AI? Why not to request 3? It makes total sense. Instead of asking AI to give you a logo for your marketing campaign, you can ask it to give us 3 different logos with the different styles. You will receive 3 of them, and as a result, you can play with it. You can ask, okay, the first one is good, but for a second one, I like this one. Can you combine it and do something else? So it's like creating a tree of results where you try to find what you like the most. Again, this is mostly used into more complex tasks or more creative tasks when you don't clearly understand what the result you would like to receive in the end. Good. So that was the final advice. But we prepared some tools that can be useful for those of you who are lazy, who don't want to play with all of that. And we'll go over them in a very, very quick manner. So Jasper AI, very good tool for marketing. Can write a content for you, can write a marketing plan and so on. Be cautious with it because Google doesn't like content written by an AI. But if you don't have a content manager or you want to start doing SEO, it's a very easy way to start. Fireflies or Otter, this is a tools that can connect to your live meeting, can record them, and give you a quick summary of meeting after it, give you action items, who is responsible for this action item, and so on. So it saves a lot of time for managers or for those who are constantly on meetings, because it do all the work for you. You don't need to memorize what were happening. It will be memorized by them. The third one is Grammarly. This one is actually from Ukraine, and it was developed actually far before the AI boom happened. The main aim of Grammarly is to check your spelling, check your English, your simplicity of words, check are these words used in the domain you're operating, and form the proper message. It does it live through your apps that you're using, and it's very useful for those who are working with abroad market and constantly communicating with English, because it makes you sound much more professional if you have a gap in your English skills. The next one, Lovable or V0. Lovable is very good thing to memorize, very easy name. And this is actually a vibe coding tool. What is a vibe coding? This is a tool where you can code some product with just the prompts. Yes, it's not that good as a final result, but you can get a pretty good results, and I will show you with landing pages. So this is a landing page coded just with simple text and prompts, like you would prompt a ChatGPT asking what you want to get. As you see, it's pretty interactive. You can get emails, it has all of the texts, it has some simple animations. You can use it to utilize in creating simple landing pages for your product, creating a business card for your business, for yourself as an employee, etc. So it gets this cool wow effect, and you can achieve it in less than an hour with a simple prompting and no technical skills at all. The last one is just developer tools. There are tons of them. AI Wolf, Copilot. It's just a matter for me to encourage you. If you're developers or related to the development world and you're doing some task day to day, they are pretty monotonous. Most probably it's already automated with AI. You can write automated tests. You can check your code compatibility. You can check bugs with it. So just check it in the internet, and most probably you'll find something ready that can simplify your life a lot. Good. So how much time we have? Okay, we're nearly done. I were asked to not dig into this scene and put it in the end, but this is very important because to my personal thinking, this is actually the future of the world and where we will all lead. All SaaS products will be changed to agents. So let's dig into it just a little bit. So what is agents? Agent is actually an AI that can perform the tasks that you gave it. So it can be marketing agents that will perform your marketing task. It can be golf agents that will teach you a golf. It can be business agents that will teach you a business, and so on. There are many, many types of agents. There are two examples here, Agent Sim and Agent X. Agent Sim, it's an agent simulator. For example, you want to simulate an interview process. So it will simulate that it's an interviewer. It will ask you questions, and as a result will give you a final result, what you need to improve. Agent X is an expert agent. This is the guy who is like a tutor, expert in some specific domain. But the fun part comes not from that there is guys who can do your work. That's great. The fun part comes from agentic systems. Imagine that you have not one agent, but you have 10 agents in your company. marketing, sales, HR, recruitment, office management, business analysis, and so on. And all these agents can work together with each other. So whenever you're asking the task, the complex task that requires several departments to be involved, you split this task automatically to multiple agents and they're being performed. For a simple example, you just signed a new contract. This contract needs to be updated in your CRM. This contract needs to be updated, sent to your recruiter so he starts hiring new resources. It needs to be sent to your HR manager because the new resources will be hired. It needs to set up meetings in your calendar so you can have a decent account management with this new contract lead and constantly follow him up with the new potential deals. So technically, there are a set of actions that needs to happen in different departments. And here comes agentic system in place. It gives you an ability to set up one system with one input source, meaning you're putting one task there, and it clearly understands what exactly and who is responsible for it. So it divides this task into simpler tasks. One task goes to the agent that knows how to work with the Google Calendar, and it can pick your availability and set up meetings. Another task goes to WhatsApp to your customer and message the customer with some relevant information. Another task goes to your recruiter and set up in his Jira board a specific task to do a hiring. All of that is just done from your one sentence that here is the deal that we just signed, and you need to automate it and do all necessary actions. How it looks like. I will give you an example with N8N system. You can develop this on your own with simply a constructor. I initially wanted to do something simple and showcase in a real how it works, but it just takes some time. But these systems, they have an ability to connect with your applications. Slack, WhatsApp, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Jira, Iulia. They can connect to all of that whenever you're using. And with your instructions, they can perform actions in these applications. Therefore, you can build an agentic system with the 20 agents that can operate over your business. All you need to do after is just to write a simple task they need to do. I want you to send my availability to all my sales department. An agent will go into calendar, will understand what exactly is your availability, when you're available, what your working hours, then go to Slack, get your sales department, and will send all the information for them to choose. It simplifies life a lot. It can even cut some positions and get a lot of free time for you, just because all of this monotonous work will be done by these agents. But it requires more time and to dig in. Whew. That's it. I hope I got some value with explaining how the system works and how you can enhance your performance using an AI, adapting your prompts and using different tools for different tasks. Please ask your questions that you have.
If everyone have question? Or everyone just like that lazy slides?
I love the lazy.
Yeah, same.
So I just one question. If there is, for example, small business, what would you recommend to start with if you think, like, if this organization wants to make a professional work on, for example, with agent?
Okay, do you have a marketing?
Sorry?
Do you have a marketing?
Like, it's not me. I'm just one person company for now, but I will have. But yeah, I will have marketing. Strategy down.
So, I will lower the volume a bit. So whenever we are working with small businesses, we tend to see a tendency that they are going without the marketing and trying to operate on their own, trying to go without marketing plan, without decent marketing materials, SMM and so on. But in reality, it's very important. That's why I've asked. I would start with actually enabling a marketing agent that can cover to the decent level your SMM activities. because it can, on a daily routine, prepare you posts, prepare you creatives for these posts, for different social medias that you have. It can create you a content that you can post on your, on your website, and you will economize all of these resources. Compared to the human-based, of course, human marketing is better because marketing is all about creativity. But if you don't have any, I would start there. After that, if you have other departments, I would check the routine tasks. AI is very good in optimizing routine tasks that you have. Reviewing, you have each day your HR reviews at 10,000 list of Excel and tries to find some pattern. You can simply copy and paste this Excel to an AI and ask it to give you result daily, and it will optimize this work. So that's the thing that I would look into. In our case, we optimized marketing, we optimized HR, we semi-optimized recruitment with an AI and sourcing, all of this monotonous work actually that we're working. We tried optimizing sales, but because we are in the market that each lead is very important, we decided that it's too risky to give it to an AI. We would rather make each sales contact with a sales member still. But I think it's also optimizable if you're working with a big database like 5,000 leads, marketing campaign or email campaign. Yes, it's also optimizable with AI.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, thank you so much, Volodymyr, for your session today. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so I had very good breakfast, have energy to raise my voice. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for the session today. My name is Am from Spain and Egypt. I just have some comments, I could say, or questions. Do you have some statistics about how using agents or AI has saved budget, for example, or saved how many times that we are always spending during the daily works?
Yeah. So by statistics, sorry, I will again lower the volume because I have an echo. By statistic, average mind worker saves a week around 7.8 hours of working time. So I transformed it actually in the beginning of the talk into the percentage. So it's around 20-25% of the time is saved daily. It's rather getting used to it because on the first glance, it feels a little bit odd, but when you get used to it, it actually becomes your daily routine to constantly use an AI. At some point, I think I'm becoming too stupid because of it, which is pretty bad. And at some points, even a simple task that I can perform in 1 minute, I'm still sending to an AI, which is also just because I am super lazy. But that's how you can adapt it, and that's how you can use it.
Can you unmute the mic again? Actually, I'm doing the same. I'm using so many AI tools, especially for the online meetings. Because, you know, for example, in my work, my manager always telling me, after every meeting, you have to send me the minutes of the meeting, the action plan, reports, and so on. So what I'm doing, I'm including Fireflies or Outer sometimes. So of course, it is giving me everything, and I'm just forwarding it to my manager. And she's telling me, oh my God, you have improved your skills for writing reports about the meetings and so on. And then she was shocked when I told her, actually, it's not me. It's the AI tool that I'm using.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's very important to use such things.
But okay, we have to admit, most of the features of AI, it is paid. You have to pay. So you need some budget to have pro characteristics of these tools. So my question is, comparing to the expenses that you are paying for the staff. For example, I need to have team in communication or marketing. I should pay for them, administration, sales, and so on. So if I'm social entrepreneur, or I'm somebody who has startup and I'm going to start my business, I have to have some budgets for the staff. So if I'm going to invest part of this budget for using AI, how much difference of I could say savings that right now I will save when I will use the AI agents. So it will be, in this case, it will be easier for me to start my business, because actually all of us right now, if we are going to make any business, oh my God, how much money I need, because I need to hire people. I will hire them first of all part-time, because I cannot afford their salary, and then, oh my God, I am not professional enough to understand, to deal with budget, to deal with audits, taxes, and so on. So I am drained to pay so many money without even starting to make my business, my sales, I could say. So right now, I will go to use AI, agents. So how much does it cost if you are giving us advice right now? Like, hey, if you want to go to make a company, I recommend you to have this budget to use this kind of agents, and that's it. So you don't need to have like thousands of euros to hire people, because you can make them, you can replace them actually with AI. And thank you. This is more or less my question. It's long, but just put in the context.
Okay. Yeah. No. There is. Okay. No. I feel good. So, as I understood, we're right now talking not only about the technical business, like a technical companies, but the different side of businesses that you're planning to make. So, saving is insane. Like, comparing an AI tool's price to the general salary, it's like hundreds of times cheaper. But you need to understand that you're then also sacrificing the quality. Human at the current state of an AI will probably do a better quality. Marketer will do a better marketing, HR will do a better HR, recruiter will do a better recruitment, and so on. Integrating, I would rather recommend if you're very low budgeted and you right now want to actually start your first company, yes, you can exchange most of them with an AI with your own time set up these agents. It will be okay till the decent level, and then you will start growing, hopefully, fingers crossed, and you can hire a team. But in reality, the best way of using AI is actually combining the people with an AI, because AI is good. Like, I don't want to pay my marketer who has a $50 per hour salary because he's super creative, has 10 tons of experience in the market, for doing a monotonous job that can any first grade student do. But I can't hire first grade student. But what I can do, I can teach my marketer and integrate him an AI tool that will do this job for him. So technically, I'm paying him only money for his experience that I'm really evaluating, like highly evaluating. But I'm not paying him for this very simple, very generic job. That's paid to an AI, and that's the real value where AI comes to. For those who are also planning to start a business, I would highly encourage you to look into agents as a business, because everyone right now is using SaaS, software as a service. You are buying boards, you are buying HubSpot, you are buying all of these tools, but you need to operate in these tools. You need to do clicks. Nobody wants to do clicks. Imagine that instead of doing clicks, there would be a HubSpot analog where you can simply communicate it as with a sales guy. I want to add this lead. Calculate my average return of investment. What was the leads for my past 3 months? So most probably the market will move in the way that SaaS products will be extracted by an AI agent that does the same work, but with much simpler interface for a human, because technically it will be mimicking, communicating with human. It can be even voice-driven, because there is already an AI that's voice-driven. You tell them what you want, and they respond to you. So if you are not yet decided with a business, this is a good time to start thinking to jump in this boat of an AI, because it's probably a new revolution that's happening at the moment. Good.
Thank you so much. If everyone have more questions, okay, more questions, but maybe you can come a bit closer. I'm not sure it will be. Okay. Yeah, we have like.
We're
10 minutes.
closer.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Sarah, and I don't have a question more than comments, and a boring comment regarding using AI and cybersecurity. It's part of making a good cybersecurity culture. So we have to talk about these things. that every conference or open day or like today's event, we notice that we are talking more and more about AI. It's the trend. So I want to just give a comment for Volodymyr or anyone who use AI that it could be good always to include talking a little bit about cybersecurity, about the information security. When you are using AI, it's more critical than ever about your personal data, your company's data. There is some really, we all know about GDPR, and now there is something else called NIS2. These things are limited our use of technology, so it's just a comment that it could be nice, such like this great presentation and advices about using AI tools to mention that. Because you can easily get trapped in some of the cybersecurity problems. So that's it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in general, I think I mentioned it in advices. So you need to be very cautious with your data. Most probably everything you put in a GPT will be used for future training. And at some point, very creative guys who can fake prompts, they are very creative guys, they can expose this data. That's why if you're using sensitive data for you, sensitive data for company or NDA, better not to send it to any model or exchange it with some fake data, etc. Because there is this risk always, especially if you're using such a like DeepSeek, which is from Chinese. 99% of this data is not secure. But if you're using it for your daily routine, you can use I think DeepSeek and it should be fine. But again, I'm less concerned about my personal data because you can Google.
Yeah, but when you're talking about company, it's also under regulation, and especially in Sweden.
There is, I will write it down. There is such a card, prompt shields. This is our customer. He is writing actually an AI that will prevent you from using data in AI. So yeah, this is also a hot topic. Okay, there was one more question.
Yeah.
I had a question towards like energy and AI and how you work
Oh.
with the environmental question when it comes to AI. Because it takes a lot of energy to, like, for all these engines to work. And I'm just interested in how you work with that part.
So technically, I'm not working that part, but in reality, it's a problem. It can be a very big problem because most of these models that you pay, for example, $20 for OpenAI, based on how many prompts you are putting, they are not even returning like $20. Most probably they are spending $40, $50, $100 on your prompts just because they want you to be using them. And all of that goes actually in this energy, in cooling systems, in water usage, and so on. And I don't know what to answer here because it can be the same as a huge problem, because if nobody will tackle this problem, and the same, it can be a very big opportunity because a lot of companies understand that they'll need to build and atom reactors, atom stations. I think Google already started building their own small atom reactor for themselves in their Google like United States office. And this is rather the thing that you need to keep hand on pulse because it can be a disaster, unfortunate, or it can go flat. We cannot control it, unfortunately, except being proactive if we see that this problem becomes bigger and bigger. But yeah, the only thing I can say, don't ask him hello, don't tell him thank you, don't tell him all of these polite words. He don't need it, but in reality, you will spend some amount of resource for him to answer to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, we can say thank you to Volodymyr. Yeah.
to put together talking to you guys. Have a nice wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Oh, it was nice to have a coffee break before that speech. Just would like to remind you that on our page we have a QR to our Padlet where you can find all information about our speakers. The presentation will be there also, so you can check if you need that lazy slide. I guess everyone needed. But also thank you so much for the comments and questions. It was really needed and interesting. Well, we will have the next speech, and it will be the last one for today before the workshops. And it will be from our partner, Scout Society, Roxana and Iulia. It's all about leading with volunteers, making impact on limited resource. And it's part of our project MP4 mentors that we mentioned before. So you are very welcome. Roxana and Iulia, come.
Unfortunately, we need to leave.
If you want.
Thank you so much for today. Keep in touch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Hi, sorry, it's my first time speaking to a group of people, so I'm a little bit scared. My name is Roxana Ghibusi. I'm representing Scout Society organization from Romania. The main topic that I will we will have today in our presentation will be about the volunteering and volunteering activities and how we can use them for greater good with minimum resources. First, a little bit about Scout Society. Scout Society has been founded by our president, Volodymyr, which had an extensive experience before that about 10 years as a volunteer, and this helped him a lot to acquire the skills and values to found this organization and also to lead others to come with him in this experience. We have also two key members in our organization, Alexandra Spilogea, which is the executive director, and my colleague here, Iulia, which is the project manager, one of the project managers. They also had like 5 or 6 years of experience before joining, being a part of Scout Society. This experience shaped their careers as well, and also helped the organization to grow much faster and also to keep its momentum all these years. A little bit about our work. Just wanted to mention we work with young people between 13 and 30 years old. We are using non-formal education to support their personal development and to help them become active citizens in our society. We also try to instill in them like European values like human rights, democracy, multiculturalism, and while also we're trying to help them with the challenges youth faces today, like unemployment, um, like unemployment, sorry, mental health struggles, also, which can affect them a lot. Every year, Scout Society implements many projects with minimum resources, and we are supported by volunteers, community partners, and also youth workers. After the projects, volunteers, as you can see, are involved in many tasks in our organizations, like logistic tasks, social media tasks, so implementing projects, sometimes even writing Erasmus Plus projects, and also organizing workshops. After the activities and the projects are finalized, we like to reward our volunteers in different ways. But the most appreciated are leisure activities, of course, like sports nights or movie nights. We also give them certificates. They can that can be useful for their CVs. They can have their the hours and the tasks that were completed, and they can use in future job applications. And I think the most appreciated reward would be the chance for them to travel to different European countries in different projects, to see new places, meet new people, and come back with great experiences. Now let's see a little bit about volunteering. What is exactly volunteering? I wanted to include this quote because in many cases volunteers do not have necessarily the time, but they have the heart. And if we want to take the theoretical definition of volunteering, would be the act of giving your time or energy without expecting financial rewards, but in general, most of the volunteers, they give their heart to a good cause and to make a difference in the world. Volunteers in general are driven to contribute and connect and make a difference, a real difference in the world. They come from different backgrounds and bring diverse experiences to the organizations. Apart from helping the organization, they also help themselves, learning new skills, growing themselves as well, and feeling connected to real impact. In managing an effective volunteer program, we can have a successful program can have many traits, but I think in our opinion, one of the most important would be matching the interests and values of the volunteers with the tasks available. In this way, they can feel more motivated, they will be more engaged because the subject is for interest is interesting for them. In the same time, we have to give them room for bringing their ideas and also helping them to grow. And helping them to grow. One of the best examples in this case would be our project that is finalized at this moment, MP4 Mentors. Just wanted to invite my colleague Iulia to talk a little bit about the project.
I can
as well.
take from here. So, as I want to also present myself a little bit because I started working since I was 16. I was the volunteer that you are searching for, basically having a volunteer all the time. I was the one that ended up staying in the organization and helping and working. So yeah, for me it was a good opportunity because for me non-formal education and everything related, it was kind of impressive and I like it and it's something that I wanted to do in my life. So I stayed and I helped, and what Roxana mentioned, how to keep them motivated, it was also the case for me because they offered me the opportunity to learn more, to also go to Erasmus Plus projects. They also basically give me a community because I was a very introverted, very lonely person when I was younger, but yeah, I was always going to the office and they made me feel like home, and they were always telling me that I was doing a good job, so it was very motivated for me. And this was also what the project is about. So what we try to do, and I think we manage a little bit to do, is to also encourage youth workers or other volunteer mentors or coordinators and offer them some tools that they can have in order to offer motivation or to help them find new volunteers and how they can do this. And one of the results that we have is a guideline for mentors and volunteers where you can find a lot of resources about what is volunteering, how you can attract them, everything that is on the financial part or on the human resources part. So it's a very good resource that you can also you can use and you can find online. And then we have the platform, which is done by our very good partner from Austria. They did a very good job where we had online course where you can learn more about volunteering and also how you can attract, and they are for both young people or youth worker. It also depends on what you want, because if you as a young people want to learn more about volunteering, it's also a good resource, or you as a youth worker, if you want to learn more and have new resources in your organization. And of course the project is co-funded by the European Union. I think from what I talked, some of you already know that they offer this opportunity and funding. And related to what Jenny said, that we should use the funding from the European to bring impact and try to help a lot of people. So for us this project also means our impact basically. We also did practical activities with youth workers and young people where we tested the platform and we evaluated the guidelines. So everything, it's also making sure that it's responding to their needs, basically. And I think also we have a website, so you can find everything on the website and the platform. That's it. I will let Roxana finish her speech.
Yeah, so this would be the part about volunteering in an organization. now we're gonna go to volunteering in corporate volunteering. This would not be very different than NGO-based programs because the idea is practically the same, giving time and experience for a good cause without financial rewards. There is one important difference in one way, because in companies the main the values of the companies and the employees have to be aligned with the CSR strategies. While in the NGO programs, they can focus directly on the community needs. The benefits of volunteering in companies, they're not just for the volunteers. Also, the companies can have significant gains from this. It can help them with their public image. It can help with employee retention. Statistics also say that 41% from people who are volunteering in companies are more likely to stay with their employer. And also it can help them financially. Statistics also say that companies that have volunteering programs are 21% more profitable than the ones they don't. A corporate volunteering program to have success also would need to have alignment in their employees' values with the CSR strategy. The main thing as well would be to have flexibility, because nowadays people don't have too much time available. So to have flexibility in the tasks they have to do for the volunteering program would be very important. And also a very important thing would be to let them lead, the activities, to let them lead their own social program. So in this way, they have more ownership and also to be more engaged. And next would be the steps to how to run a social project with minimum resources. There are many steps, but we included these first three because in general, without this, the volunteering program cannot be started, if I can say like this. First would be to offer a strong purpose, and as we said, to have, and second, to have the volunteers' values aligned with this purpose, and to feel important for them. This way, they will be more engaged, and also to set measurable goals and objectives, because even though they can be very engaged and like the idea, they have to have like exact and measurable objectives and tasks, so they know what to do, when to do. And the next thing that would be very important for a good program would be the partnerships that you will engage. In general, as I said, we are also supported in our programs from our community partners. And in general, any help that we have, like schools and other NGOs that can help us with materials, location, transport, can make a big difference. And in the end, measuring the impact is not actually a step in the program, but it can be a step for the next program, because giving putting your programs online and making them visible can attract new partners and also other volunteers, and can help you with future programs. The main trends, if I can say like this, in volunteering in 2025 would be programs that are related with disasters like flooding or other type of disasters. Also, as I said, the programs that are led actually by other volunteers, and most of the programs also have now a lot of digital experiences, because as we said, people don't have much time in their program. If they like to volunteer, they can also find like digital tasks that they can do, so they can still help and feel like they have a purpose. And here I included some statistics, as I presented before, like 21% of the companies that have volunteering programs are more profitable than the ones they don't, and like 41% of the employees are much likely to stay with the employer if they have if they belong in a volunteer program. These statistics show that social businesses help and programs help their businesses a lot, and as our first speaker said, I think that would be the future for businesses.